Brock, what are you guys focused on doing tonight?
I think we just got to come to the rink and prepare for a full 60-minute effort. We can't have those lulls like we did last game where we're turning pucks over, not playing our style.
What's the key to doing that?
Not turning pucks over. We just got to make sure that we're getting pucks deep and playing to our system, and that's working hard and getting it on the forecheck.
How strange is it that this is a divisional opponent? This is the first time you're seeing them this season. You'll see a lot of them here down the stretch.
Yeah, but I think it's good for our group. Obviously, they got a strong team over there, and a lot of veteran guys. So they've been in the playoffs for the past few years. So we got to get excited for these games.
What does your mentality have to be when facing teams that are kind of battling for their playoff lives and have some of that desperation in their game right now?
I think our mentality shouldn't change. Whoever we're facing, I think we got to come to the rink and prepare the right way and be ready to put in that effort. Obviously we feel that we can be better as of late, and we just got to put a few wins together.
Take me through the power play. I mean, it's only been a few days with these new alignments. Or how long does it take to get comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, we got some power play time yesterday in practice, so I think that's good to snap it around and just get some chemistry with the guys. So obviously that's a big talking point, and we know that we need to be better. So tonight will be a good challenge for us.
With the Kings, it's a team you haven't faced yet, but it's a team you could potentially not only play a lot down here in the stretch, but you could face them in the playoffs. Is that something you think about at all?
No, I think it's more so just we know the type of team that they are. I think they've played the same way for as long as I can remember. So they play a simple style of hockey. The style that we want to play each and every night. They work hard. They got those veteran guys that lead the way. So it's a good challenge for us.
What do you think about the way that JT's playing right now, and especially in big moments? Felt like the shorthanded goal the other game was pretty big, and just the way that he's playing right now.
Yeah, he's a guy that he's old school. He works super hard, and he's physical. He can make plays and he can score. So he's a big driver for our team, and he's been doing a great job.
What about the leadership that he brings on the ice in those big moments? Is that something like a way of leadership, I guess, the way that he kind of just seems to take over games with shifts?
Yeah, I think that's just part of his competitive nature, and he's a guy that steps up, and I think he's done it for ever since he's been here. So we gotta make sure that we get everyone on board.
We asked Rick yesterday whether or not the noise around PD potentially has an impact, and he said it could. He's human. You're a guy that's dealt with that kind of stuff, near deadlines and things like that. How tough is that? You know PD as well as anybody. How tough is it?
Yeah, I mean, even if a guy says it might not be bothering them, I'm sure, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. So, it's something that I don't know if it's bothering him. I'm sure it is a little bit, but, I think there's a lot of talk. I don't know really what's going on, but hopefully he can sign soon and put it past him.
Rick, is it pretty strange at this point in the season? You guys haven't faced the Kings, a divisional opponent.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't faced a few teams in our division. Yeah, it is strange, and good hockey team. It's going to be a tough game for us.
And I think 4 games over the next 5 weeks or so against this team. What does that do as you kind of wrap up for the playoffs here?
Well, it puts you in playoff mode. There's 8 points available. There's a lot of there's a lot at stake when you play your division teams. That whether you're chasing or you're trying to stay above, it doesn't really matter. It's they're 4-point games. They're important games.
Your goaltender tonight?
Demmer.
Any other changes you expect?
No. Same.
It's been about a month since the Lindholm trade happened. He's played in a few different spots. How do you feel about his fit and his play thus far with the team?
Yeah, I think there's been some really good games. There's some games where he's trying to feel his way out. I like where he's at. I like the centerman position that we have right now, and we got to give it some time. It's only been a month. And I think there's some stuff that he's really helped us with, and I think there's something that he wants to get better at. So that's why we made the trade earlier, so to give him some time to work.
I want to ask you about the turnovers. That's been a big sticking point for you from that last game. Given your team has been much cleaner in that regard, were you surprised it came back, or does that just happen in a season?
I think it's a little surprising thing, yeah, because I think we take pride on that. I think we've gotten I think I told you guys yesterday, we're getting a little bit looser, and I think when you're loose, you throw pucks in the middle. You try for plays that you usually don't. And it's coming from guys usually that have been pretty good. So that's something that we just got to clean it up. You know, that and the penalties. If both teams are playing and you're leading the turnovers and you're taking more penalties than the other team, the margin of error gets slimmer. So to me it's math. Like we got to get better at those two categories and get back into the way we were playing, you know, the first half of the year.
I know you're a pretty big fan of what Julesen's done the last few weeks. You've got Hughes with him tonight. Where are you with Noah's game right now, especially in his ability to handle the forecheck and get rid of the puck?
Well, I think when you talk about playing to your ability and playing simple, that he's the guy, right? You know, he blocks shots. He's one of our better penalty killers. You tell him to be on a certain spot, 9 times out of 10 he's going to be there. He's really, I think, since working with us and especially Footy and Gaunch, he's one of those guys that really listens. And if you watch his play, it's gotten better. You know, he plays 16 minutes. I mean, he's a solid player for her. You know, very rarely his fingerprints are over the chances against. You know, he obviously has his hiccups like any player, but I think for me, he's a very reliable guy for us.
Last one for me was just Demko. He's playing again tonight.
Yeah.
You've been asked a bit about deployment and how many games he's going to wind up playing and potential fatigue. Like, the schedule sets up for you to play him a lot.
Right.
So how do you play him less and, you know, not get tempted?
Yeah, well, obviously Casey's he's going to play here in the next couple of games for sure. And then yesterday, if you watch, we had the spare goalie, the call-up goal, whatever what do they call it, the e-bug goalie or whatever they call it. We had him up. And Denver didn't practice. He went out with Clark early, so that's how you keep the miles off a goalie too. Is have let him not practice as hard and do his technical work with Clarkie. It's worked in the past, but yeah, no, we got to be conscious of how we use him for sure.
Rick, where have you seen the biggest growth in your hockey club from last year to this year? And are there any individuals that are maybe exceeding expectations?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, you know, if you look at Garland, Dakota, you know, Teddy Booger's had a good year in the sense. All those type of guys have, you know, we got a lot of guys that have 10 goals or more. So there's a lot of depth. For the first question, I think for us is not lately. It's been a little bit, but it hasn't been what we want. But not duplicating mistakes. You know, if a guy makes a mistake, we'd hang tough. You know, I think for the most part, we've been really consistent with that. And I think the pride without the puck. Most of the year guys have really been, you know, good defensively, good without, and be conscious of it. Those two, now saying that, those two have slipped a little bit, those two categories, but for them, I got to be, you know, for the most part, pretty proud of the team, how they have done consistently in those categories.
We saw Susie on the ice this morning. Said he was at the doctor yesterday. Making progress. Was there an update?
So the doc will be today. He's going to tell us about the pictures and where he's at. But yeah, he's fairly close. Fairly close.
And just preparing for a team like this, when you haven't faced them all year, you've only watched them from afar. Is there something in the game tonight that you're looking for specifically to sort of judge how you guys are managing playing an opponent that you haven't seen before? Well,
I've coached against the team for myself personally, 5 years with Arizona, and then a little bit last year. You know, whether it's Todd was a coach right now or with the new coach now, I think the pedigree of that team is a very structured team. You know, I'm a huge fan of Doughty and Kopitar as leaders. I think we're catching a break. I don't think Kepi's not playing that, I don't think, right? So we're catching a break. I think he's a hell of a player. But if you look at the overall structure of their game, you can't be antsy against that team. You got to be able to be, if it's a 1-0 game or a 0-0 late in the second period, you got to be comfortable in your own skin because they are. You know, so I think that's really my message to the team is you got to play a smart game against them. You start pressing, you start doing turnovers, you start taking penalties, then teams like that are really good. So I think we got to make sure that if it's 0-0 after the second, we're okay. That's what we have to, that's the mentality.
Rick, you've mentioned a few times that your teams look tired, or a lot of guys have looked tired. It is the dog days. You've had a busy schedule, let's face it. You've been through it as a player. What advice or what do you want to see from your guys? How do you battle through that? Because I mean, if you don't have the energy, it's hard to play. Right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say, like mental toughness and all that sort of stuff, which comes to play. Every team goes through it. But take advantage of the rest. Like, you know, today they had the option of, you know, don't go on the ice. I think 90% of our guys didn't go on the ice. Maybe 50% will stay at home. They just come tonight. We did that the other day against Boston. It worked. I thought we had a lot of energy. So that's my job, to get these guys some energy. But it's also their job to understand that if you don't have it that night, you got to play smart. If if your legs aren't there, then play a smarter game. Don't throw pucks away. Don't take stupid penalties. Just play a smart game. And I think sometimes we have to up that category when we're not feeling. You can still win games when you're tired. I don't think it's an excuse.
Your schedule is pretty good though down the stretch.
Well, yeah, I
a
mean,
lot of rest. Do you expect you're definitely must be expecting to see that energy come back.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's some teams that got to play 17 games in the month of March. I don't know how many we're playing, but we got 9 home games consecutive at home. Can we take advantage of it? But there's other teams got games at hand on us too, so it's a give and take. But we got to use our rest days or our practice days, very importantly, this month. So take advantage of this schedule. Yeah, we have some hard games though. And we got LA a bunch. We got Winnipeg. We got Vegas, Colorado again. I mean, we got some tough games, but I think that's a good thing. I'd rather go through, knowing that we have to go through some tough games here with 20 games left in the season. I think it's a good thing for our team. We need it.